Hello, my name is Poppy Frater. I am a PhD candidate at SRUC with the University of Edinburgh and supervision from SUIC. My PhD is looking at a specific type of grazing, namely mob grazing, and to understand whether it's beneficial to soil health and the environment. We need to have a better understanding of the role of grazing livestock, if indeed there is a role, to our agroecosystems of the future. We know that they are significant contributors to greenhouse gas emissions, although we have little understanding as to what they contribute in terms of carbon sinks, in terms of soil carbon sequestration. Mob grazing is a form of grazing which involves stocking the animals really tight, as you can see in this picture, and grazing a specific area for a short period of time, typically a day, and then that area isn't returned to for about 2 or even 3 months. So as a result, when they come back to that small area, the grass is really tall, the roots are really deep, and the animals trample a lot of material back into the soil. More and more farmers are being convinced as to the value of this grazing practice for their soil health, and also are keen to understand whether this is resulting in greater soil carbon sequestration. In order to understand this further, I am comparing a farm that utilises this mob grazing practice with farms that use different grazing strategies. So namely a set stocking farm where animals aren't moved around in this planned way. And then there's a rotational grazed farm where animals are moved around, but the rest period is shorter. So typically around 3 weeks. I am sampling 8 fields on each farm, and these fields are being selected to represent different phases in the arable rotation. So each farm uses grass in their arable rotation, so I can select some of those short-term grass fields, some arable fields, a long-term pasture field, and a natural reference for which I've chosen woodland areas. Within each field, I have GPS marked 3 sample sites, and then at each sample site, I've been sampling to 3 different depths. What will be important will be returning to these sites in 2023 and 2025 to measure the change, to measure that carbon buildup. My baseline data is just that. It is baseline for which to compare with future years. However, it's interesting to see how it does compare with my expectations based on the literature. We know that grass leads to soil carbon sequestration, so it is not surprising to me that the carbon stocks are greater in the grass fields compared with the arable fields. In addition, although there's a huge range in the woodland samples, these woodland fields are also greater than the arable fields. Comparing the 3 farms must be done with caution because, of course, the geography, the climate, and the soil types do vary and will impact the carbon storage potential of these farms. However, we can see that the rotational grazing farm, the baseline is lower, the carbon stocks are lower than the other 2 farms. As we investigate the soil carbon further, we have looked at the mineral associated organic carbon. This is important because this is a more stable form of carbon, and it factors in the different textural properties, some of the textural properties of these soils. So the mineral associated organic carbon doesn't actually significantly differ. The total doesn't differ between the 3 farms, but the proportion of total carbon it makes up does So on the rotational grazing farm, because the soil carbon stocks are lower, the mineral associated organic carbon makes up a greater proportion. So that is my findings to date. I am looking at other metrics of soil quality, and like I say, it will be the comparisons with future years which will be most interesting. I would just like to say thank you to my funders and supervisors and to the help of these people which have helped with sampling and analysis. Thank you.